Alright, man, this is my first time doing this, so hey, man, we're just gonna see how it goes. So, today I'm gonna talk about why I feel like All American should have ended on season 4. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about in not letting season 4 end is, to me, I feel like there is a huge beauty in letting things in, you know? I feel like a good ending is just as important, if not as important, as a great start, you know? Because a great ending is what people are going to remember for the long run. That's how it will stand the test of time, is a great ending. For example, look at something like Game of Thrones, right? Something that was such a huge cultural phenomenon and what was rated as one of the highest grossing shows ever, one of the highest rated shows ever. And just because the show had an ending that virtually no one really liked, it's not put up as one of the greatest shows of all time just because of that reason, even though it has the ratings to prove that it is. And another huge problem to me as to why I feel like it should have ended this season is you have a lot of conflicting plot lines and characteristics when you keep bringing characters and stories back. For example, look at something like Jordan and Simone's relationship. For literally 2 whole seasons, Jordan was madly in love with this girl. So much so that he literally married her. And I know it's a show and it's definitely fictional, but this man is 17, 18 years old. They are in high school. They got married before their senior year of high school. You know, if that's not love, I don't know what is. I'm just saying. Because so in season 2, he found out that she was pregnant and he was so excited. And even after she told him that it wasn't his baby and she kind of was staying with him for his family's fortunes and because they were helping her out a lot, he still didn't care. He was still that in love with her. He was still in love with her that he was still gonna be with her for this whole journey. And even though it was someone else's baby, he didn't care because he loved her. And that just shows like how much love he had for her, you know? And I thought it was cool, you know? I was behind it. I don't know if it would have been me, but you know, I was still behind it. Then in season 3, there was such a large chunk of the story that was dedicated just on their marriage and how much they loved each other, even though they were being persuaded by their friends, their families to not be married, not stay married. They shied away from them, from their parents, their friends, everyone, just because they loved each other so much. Jordan even yelled at his mother and stood his ground for his wife. And you want me to believe that they just grew apart or whatever just so they can immediately give them another love interest? I just don't like that at all, man. Like, I don't. And now I just feel like when things like this happen, it reminds people that they're watching a CW show, right? And I never thought of All American as like a CW show, you know? Like, yes, it had its little CW isms or whatever, but like I always thought it was just something different than that. Like it really holds a special place in my heart. And another like CW trope that is like popular that like people know of, it's just prolonging the show so much. It's just like when you do that, I feel like it just feels less special to me. And with prolonging the show, I feel like you're gonna get the same type of situations when characters are shying away from what their true motivations were. Because like I just said about Jordan and Simone, they were so deeply in love with each other for 2 full seasons, and now just immediately we're just gonna get them out of the picture, right? And just so we can immediately give them another love interest. And now with that introduction of that producer or whatever, I forgot his name. Oh, Clay, that's his name. Thank you. Yeah, Clay. Now we're gonna have another love triangle, whatever, with Jordan, Layla, and Clay, which I'm really not that interested in watching. Because like now we're gonna have Jordan and Layla be together, which, by the way, in season 3, I'm not gonna lie, I saw the little crumbs of what was gonna happen, because with the introduction of All American College or whatever the show Simone is starring in, I knew that in that episode when they went to the college, I knew that her and that dude that she was flirting with, whatever, were going to eventually be together in her show. And I could see it, and I was just like, even then I was like, But I'm not gonna lie, for the first 2 seasons, as far as I remember, Jordan and Layla, yeah, they grew up together and they went to the same school and they had the same friends, but they wasn't seeming like they was that close. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like Spencer and Olivia, they was close throughout every season. You could see that relationship building and what it was going up to, you know? And another huge thing with not, ending the show or prolonging it is Coop and Patience relationship, you know? Now, contrary, I don't know what other people might believe. I feel like they were a really good couple, for the first 3 seasons or whatever, I feel like they was a pretty good couple. Of course, they had their problems or whatever, but I feel like they were a real ride or die couple. Like, they was really there for each other, And now we're just gonna have them. I know they're not together now, but I feel like we all know that in the next season or however long we're gonna have this show go on, I feel like we can all kind of foresee that they will get back together, Like, I just feel like that's inevitable. To me, I feel like. I could be wrong, but I just feel like I definitely think that they are gonna get back together. I feel like we're giving these same characters these same problems and recycling them over and over again, and I just don't like that. Like, I feel like that just lessens the impact of your show and with the before seasons, And another example with Coop and Patience is, if we're just gonna have them do this on again, off again thing, it's like we're gonna keep seeing these couples that we love and care about just keep going on and off again with each other, and it's just, I don't feel like that's that cool. I don't feel like that's cool, I don't feel like All America was that type of show, It just felt different to me, but now it's just feeling like a lot of the same things, Now that we're on the couples, let's talk about one of the best fictional couples that I have seen in a while. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Spencer and Olivia are something to really behold. I'm not gonna lie. I love their relationship. I'm not gonna lie. And we see over the course of the first 3 seasons of how their relationship builds up, and how when Olivia was the first friend that Spencer made at Beverly, or when Spencer had to move in with Olivia's family and they became like a brother and sister for a while. And then, they were always there for each other. They have, kind of like the same type of traits, how they talk about how they both like to play the hero and they both love to save people. And I feel like that's an amazing dynamic of 2 characters who are just 2 very good people who just love to help others, And to me personally, I love how they did their relationship in the first 3 seasons. Like, I really do, I feel like us as audience members, especially me, I can only speak for myself, of course. I feel like we were just waiting for them to get together, We were just waiting, and when they finally got together, I know I was happy. I know I had a huge grin on my face, Like, it was awesome. I mean, this man Spencer quite literally took a bullet for her. If that is not love, I don't know what is, man. And even in season 4, for like the first, pretty much like the first half of it, we pretty much saw why they were so great together, They were just so cute, when you see 2 characters, they're just so cute, it's just like, you can't help but smile, like, they're so cute, and it's just so great for each other, right? But then, like, somewhere in the middle, they just started to have these weird, petty, weird problems that they would just introduce a problem in, like, the beginning or, like, kind of middle of the episode, then, at the end, we'll just have them make up, Like, I was just like, alright, I get it, couples have problems, of course. I just feel like they were starting to act very uncharacteristic. They started to not really listen to each other like that. Olivia started to keep a lot of secrets from Spencer, which she really wasn't doing before, honestly. Except for, her drug addiction and things of that nature. I'm not talking about that, but it's like, it feels like Spencer was always someone that she could talk to and someone that she could always, trust in, I just felt that they were just giving these 2 these weird and petty fights that, yes, all couples get into, but I just feel like they didn't know what to do with them. In my eyes, I felt like they they just didn't really want them to be this perfect, great, lovey-dovey couple this whole season. You know, obviously, yes, that's not totally realistic, but also the problems they were giving them and how mad they would get, I would just be like, what? Like, why? You know? I felt like it was so uncharacteristic for these characters. And let me get into a huge problem that I had with this season, you know? And mind you, let me reiterate that I did like this season. I'm not gonna lie, I really liked it, but like, just, you know, the theme of this video is why I think it should have ended this season, you know? But a huge problem that I had with this season is the whole Crenshaw side and aspect of the show, you know? Because in this show, you really have two, which I thought was two huge differing places and themes and problems with Crenshaw and Beverly, and how both of those places are Spencer's homes, you know? Of how, like, both of these places are what shape him, and he has people that he cares about and loves in both of these places. And I just feel like Crenshaw really wasn't fleshed out, because I feel like Crenshaw itself is a character, you know? Not just a set. I feel like Crenshaw itself is a character, and I feel like we didn't get the great, you know, conflicts and stories this season that we've gotten in previous seasons. In the first season, we get, within the first 10 minutes, we see Spencer at a football game. We see Spencer balling out a football game, doing his thing. Then literally, within the first 10 minutes of the show, of the entire series, we see a guy get shot and killed right in front of their field, right? And to me, that's like, yo, that's like, obviously it's not awesome, but it's like, yo, it's like a huge, I feel like that's just a huge impact on the show, in which I feel like people loved so much, you know? And especially in the first 2 seasons, even like 2.5, 3, we got gang wars. We get this conflicting side of Coop of wanting to become a rapper or a gang member, and it was just a huge, great portion of the show that I loved. In season 1, we see Spencer's longtime childhood friend, even though he had problems with him in the beginning of the first season or whatever, we saw, you know, in the flashbacks that he was really protecting Spencer from this life. We would tell, you know, the gang members and stuff, like, nah, man, he got something better to do. He ain't in all of this, man, you know? Like, that just really resonated with me. And we get that great scene of when Sean's brother died. We get that great scene of Spencer was like, yo, man, hey, I'm really, really sorry. Like, he really felt for him, you know? He was like, man, I'm really sorry, but we can stop the violence right now. You don't have to retaliate. And Sean was just like, hey, man, it's already done. He just said, too late, you know? Like, he's already in deep in this, you know what I'm saying? So, and that really damn near broke my heart. It's like, yeah, but like, he's just in this. Like, he just in it now. It's only 2 possible outcomes for this man at this point, you know? And with, you know, the neighborhood being a war zone, and you know, especially in the beginning seasons of Spencer really being so conflicted in, you know, focusing on his future in football and doing what's best for him, and also having to be away from home and leaving his family and his friends that he grew up with that made him, and with their problems in their community. We get so many scenes of, you know, Dylan being, you know, mad and conflicted with him, you know, that he's not really there. And we get Coop doing the same things, you know. We get even other people in Crenshaw, you know, saying like, hey, man, you're not really even with us no more right now, you know, like you left us. And again, to me, that was such a great part of the show. Like, his conflicting sides of what he wants to do what's best for himself, and what's best for his community and bettering it. I feel like the show did such a great job, you know, in those seasons with, like, they did such a great job with the social commentary and, you know, the things that were going on in Crenshaw, which is a symbol for the black community and the problems and struggles that go along with it. Being in the inner city, I don't feel like, in a lot of shows and media, I feel like sometimes they try to hand fist it in your face, and we don't really, at least me, we don't really resonate or really care that, like we care, but it's like, I feel like you're just like forcing it down our throats. But like in All American, to me, I felt like I felt like they did a great job in having it flow with the story, like a lot of times with police brutality, with Spencer telling Jordan and navigating Jordan and how to navigate the police and how to act when police are near you and are around you, because Jordan, growing up in Beverly Hills and being in that environment, he never really had to learn that. His parents never really taught him that, which is really a story in itself, because I feel like that is a story in the black community with some black families or mixed families or whatever that are wealthy, that the kids don't really, they aren't subject to that stuff. They aren't introduced and they aren't integrated in that lifestyle and how to act towards police, that they just don't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And like with the beginning seasons also, we see Coop getting into it with the wrong people. We see Preach. We see this whole other lifestyle. We see Tyrone. We just see, like, we truly see the differing sides of the show and the community, which I feel like we really weren't getting in a lot of other shows, and especially in season 4. I feel like, like we would just see this whole other aspect of it, all this killing and violence and just how this affects these characters. And with that, even like for example, at the end of season 2, Crenshaw's coach left, so they were about to end their program. They were about to literally shut down their football program. And Spencer literally went back to Crenshaw just to save their program, to bring more eyes to the Crenshaw community. I feel like that's just another example of how great the show was in integrating these two parts of the show. And I feel like those type of great scenes and aspects that we got from Crenshaw itself, we didn't really see that in season 4, I feel like in season 4, we were just, at Slauson Cafe, chilling. The whole gang's there. And like, yes, we've been at Slauson Cafe for pretty much every season. Pretty much that's like the only place they was at. We're just chilling. They really didn't have any problems. All the Beverly kids were there. They were just, happy-go-lucky. We're just chilling down there. There were really no Crenshaw problems. I'm not saying that, it's the hood and there's always gonna be problems there, and we always have to see violence and killing and all this bad stuff and how it affects the youth. I'm just saying that if we're like, we can do this. Like, I'm all for, the happy-go-lucky, everybody chilling at Slauson Cafe, everybody chilling at Crenshaw, whatever. I'm cool with that, but I'm cool with that if, this was like the last season, Like, I feel like this entire season really didn't get no real Crenshaw problems, Like, we didn't really get any Crenshaw problems. Like, we got Spencer's teammates stealing the trophy from Beverly. I mean, yeah, that's pretty messed up. But, that's not, like, that's just, like, I feel like people would do that in real life. I honestly feel like that's just a little funny little prank. And I'm okay with them being happy over there and, it just being chill over there if it was the last season. But because that we're at least getting a season 5, maybe even a season 6, I don't know. It's like, okay, what other problems are we going to have in Crenshaw, or are we just going to abandon all those problems altogether? Like, it was just like all these communities' problems and hardships that they go through just went away. Like, we got a scene or two of Laura now helping the community with their trials and things like that. That was cool. Like, I really like that. Like, I feel like maybe we could have gotten more of that and less of some of the other bullshit we got. And like, for example, what was the biggest problem in season 4, like, that was, surrounding Crenshaw? Coop and Preach getting arrested? For something that they did in season 3? Like, come on now, It really just felt that they didn't know what to do with Crenshaw, or they just didn't want to do anything with it, which both I have a little bit of a problem with, because I feel like that was literally half of the struggle and greatness of the show that it was giving me, and that was giving all of us. And I just feel like, yeah, they can definitely create more problems and stories for that community, but I'm just afraid that they're just gonna keep recycling the same old, Coop's juggling, the rapping with the thug lifestyle or something like that, or just doing something dumb like that, or maybe putting Preach back in it or something, which would just be uncharacteristic, because Preach has literally changed his life. He's turned his life around. So has Coop. She has turned her life around. That is behind her. And now I feel like that's when we're gonna that's why I feel like we needed to end it this season, because now this thug life or whatever, this stuff is behind them now. So what other stories are we gonna have for Crenshaw that doesn't seem uncharacteristic and seem like these characters are just taking a step back? Now, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but so now I love Dylan as a character. I really do, right? I love this guy. I love like the comic relief that he provides. Like honestly, I love the dude. And in season 4, we got the same type of plot line and storyline in an episode, which Dylan was mad at Spencer because, he got college football to worry about. He got his girlfriend. He got, all this great stuff going on for him. But he's just like, oh, I'm never going to leave Crenshaw or whatever, right? And like, it just makes me just a little mad that we just keep doing like kind of like the same plot lines and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, there were some plot lines in season 4. There were a good number of plot lines in season 4 that I loved, that were really cool. And like I said before, I definitely felt like Crenshaw, and not even just Crenshaw, the whole season itself was just, a little more happier, than previous seasons. And I am totally fine with that. I'm so fine with that, right? But the thing is, so we're just gonna just act like all these characters' problems are gone, and like I'm happy with that. I was happy with seeing these characters that I know what they've been through. I know what, the trials and hardships that they've overcome. I was happy to see them happy. And how happier I would have been if we ended the show like that, Like, it was so many times I would just be smiling along with these characters. Like, I would just have a grin the size of a house, like, was happy with these characters. I'm not mad that they were doing happy things. I'm just a little tight that, okay, so we're just gonna keep doing this for another season and maybe another one, Having stories and plots for certain episodes that just weren't as intriguing as they were before, Like, it was just so much weight to them, like I felt like in seasons before, Like, just look at season 2. We learned that Grace and Billy literally cheated and damn near destroyed 2 families. Like, that was impactful. Now in this one, we got Billy and Grace and her boyfriend, I forgot his name. We got them all happy and stuff, making all these jokes, chilling. We get Preach telling jokes. Like, mind you, I'm cool with that. Mind you, I'm cool with that. But if we're gonna do that, I feel like we need to end it that way. Because with doing that, we're just gonna have these plot lines that are not as intriguing as before and don't hold as much weight as before. I just don't feel like that's what I have been accustomed to with this show. I talked about it earlier on how this was a high school show, and I feel like it would have been so special to end it on them graduating and us seeing, the career paths that they choose, the school Spencer chooses, and stuff like that. Because now when you get him going on to college and them going on to their separate career paths, it's like, okay, now it just feels like a completely different, we're just shifting on to something else, you know? In my eyes, it's like, okay, when are we going to actually end the show? Like, in my eyes, I'm really thinking, when are we going to end the show? So are we going to end it when Spencer is graduating college and he goes to the NFL? Are we going to end it somewhere in the middle of his college? Like, I just really think about it. It's like, when is the end of this? Are we going to season 6, 7? Like, I know it's a little bit of a funny thing to talk about, how we get, you know, these 20-year-olds and sometimes 30-year-olds playing high schoolers. And it's like, okay, like, yeah, it's fine. Like, they sort of look like, you know, people that would be in college. They look young enough to be in college because black don't crack. But if we keep prolonging this, it's just gonna get really weird. It's like, I'm gonna look up their age. These people, some of these guys are gonna be in their mid-30s playing college people. I don't know, man. Like I said before, I just feel like it just would have been a great ending to end with them graduating, and you know, maybe we could have had the same kind of stories that we had in season 4, but just like a different type of like time. We could have had, you know, Spencer going back and forth what schools to go to. We still could have had, you know, the same love stories and stuff, and the same stories that Olivia had, and the same plot lines that Billy Baker had, and things of that nature, and you know, being a principal next year and stuff like that. We still could have had that stuff, but I just feel like it would have been so special to end it there. I feel like they could have created stories to match, you know, still more high school stories to tell, you know? Like, the whole process of finding schools, like, I feel like they just skimmed through those. Like me in particular, like, that process of finding schools was very brutal. It's a long process, man. You know? I just feel like they just skimmed through that. And I feel like with them ending there, we started, like, it's a high school show. It started off as a high school show, as a junior in high school. Now we are, like, now in present, we have him in college right now, freshman in college. And I'm just like, okay, where are we going from here? Where is the ending in sight here? You know? Where are we ending? I just feel like ending it at the end of their high school journey would have been amazing, because I would have been extremely fulfilled, because we would have started in high school and we ended in high school. And if we ended it there, I feel like it would have been beautiful, because we can imagine and interpret what beautiful and amazing things that these characters go on to do with their adult lives. And now, we're going to talk about my final issue with this season. We're going to talk about the final issue with this season to me. And that is how the season ends. Now, we all know that in a show like this, how in any show, how the season ends is great build up to the next season, and it increases hype for the next season. For example, we see at the end of season 1, we see Spencer scoring the game-winning touchdown in the state championship versus his former team. That is a beautiful ending to season 1. And we also got Coop getting Tyrone arrested, and you know, that whole thing. So yeah, I feel like that was a great ending to season 1. And with also, Spencer scored the game-winning touchdown in the state championship with his dad in the stands. It was just a beautiful moment, right? And then at the end of season 2, we get Tyrone's sister Mo, who is this huge character, and we get to see how important and how powerful she is as a woman in law. And we get to see, okay, yeah, this is very exciting to see what's in store for next season. Is she gonna get justice for Tyrone? Is she gonna get revenge for Tyrone in season 3? Like, that's something that was extremely cool. And then along with that, at the end of season 2, we got everyone going away for summer vacation and things like that. And then we get to see Spencer and Olivia pretty much really being the only ones there for each other. And it was just really Spencer and Olivia, and it was beautiful because they was like, yeah. And then, you know, at the end of it, we got to see Olivia almost relapsing. That was beautiful. Like, we almost saw Olivia relapse, but then we get to see Spencer come and be like, hey, yeah, man, what we watching? And Olivia was just like, wow, like I thought that I was alone. He was like, nah, like I could never be alone, right? And it was just beautiful because, you know, they were there for each other. And then at the end, the final shot of season 2, we get Spencer holding his arm, the one that he got shot in, that he's been laboring this whole season, or the majority of it, because he got shot. And we see him hold it, and we're like, oh, dang. Like, this gets us intrigued for season 3. And then in season 3, we get so many intriguing things at the end of it. First, we got Layla being pretty much kidnapped by whatever her name was. We got Layla being kidnapped by her, which we don't really know what she's gonna do. I forgot what I was thinking, but I wasn't thinking good thoughts. I was like, yo, what is gonna happen here? What is she gonna do to Layla? I was like, yo, I was so excited for that. Then we get Asher, who right before the championship game gets the most horrible news pretty much of his life, of how he will never be able to play football again, which football has been his life, for his entire life. And that is something crazy to think about. That's another plot line. It's like, yo, that got me really excited to see what they do with Asher next season. And then we get Jordan and Spencer, who start a brawl right before the championship game. This huge brawl, which was awesome, by the way. Like, we get these two rival schools who about to go play the biggest games of the majority of most of their lives, playing with each other, and they get into this huge fight before. And to me, I was so excited to see what happens the next season. It's like, yo, they have all this built up anger and stuff. This game is about to be crazy. It's about to be wild. Like, it's about to be awesome. And then, at the very last shot of the season, we see Coop being set up by Mo. Then we get Mo shooting Coop, and then Preach shooting Mo, the mother of his child. So the last shot we see is Coop laying down with a gunshot wound. And it's like, yo, I didn't really think she would die, but it's like, yo, it's still like a great plot line to transition into the next season. It's like, yo, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really think she would die, but I also had parts of my brain that was like, she might just die. Like, I could see her dying, and, you know, them taking this, you know, a complete 180, you know what I'm saying? I could see her dying. I could just see her dying. It was just like, it was a great ending to that season. Those 3 seasons are great cliffhangers to get us excited for the next season. And then now we get season 4. Now, which the last shots of it are Layla's dad giving the royalties and rights of his company to Clay, which is weird in itself. And it's like, I mean, all right, that's cool, I guess, you know. Then we get the final shot of the season, which was Olivia is now going after Spencer's coach. I mean, I don't really see a scenario in which, even if Layla finds all this dirt on this coach that he has, say if he gets fired, I mean, 1, Spencer and Jordan are both freshmen. 2, it really doesn't matter, because if they're ball out, it doesn't matter who their coach is. Like, if they continue to ball on the field, they're gonna continue to be on the field. So I don't really know why Spencer is a little mad at her for doing this. Do you see the differences between, like, do you see the differences between all the seasons and season 4? Like, the endings of it? It's like, I mean, yeah, this is cool, but it's like, nothing in season 4's ending is as crazy impactful as the rest of the 3. Nonetheless, man, you know, hopefully season 5 is great. Hopefully, you know, hey, I'm not saying I'm not gonna always love this show, but, you know, hopefully season 5 is great, and hopefully I'm wrong. hopefully they still have a great ending to the show. It's just, I'm just a little disappointed in what it's, come to, and what it's becoming, Nonetheless, I love this show, and I will continue to watch it until it ends. And even after that, I will watch it until, I can't watch it no more. So, yeah, man. All right, y'all. It was fun talking about this. It's the first time I've ever done this. It was fun. And, hopefully we get a great ending to the show sometime soon. All right. Peace.